See, I'm going to say this. Long as these black women, they'll date these white supremacist white men, but they'll act like they didn't know them white men were racist. In my Maury Povich voice, that was a lie. See, a lot of these black women, they'll date racist white men that they know they are racist, but these white men get with these black women because these white men are not getting picked by Becky and Susan. That's the truth. So what white men normally do when they can't get Becky and Susan not checking for them, they gravitate to the only ones they know that will take them in, which is black women. Black women have been taking white men in since the plantation. You know, they've been doing this for a long time. And then the normal thing of the diversity is say that black men don't care for them, we don't do nothing, we hate them and shit like that. All this is projection. This is mere projection to mislead other black women down a misfortunate road that a lot of times end up with them in basically uncompromising situation where even their life is threatened or even they are deleted. So these divestors don't care about leading black women down the path of destruction long as they anything to side black men. Now, we already know black women have always had a hatred for black men. And I'm saying all black women know. But we already know these women of this ilk always had a hatred towards black men. So it's not uncommon for a black woman that have hatred for black men to get with a racist white man. They find common ground with each other because both hate black men, particularly white men. So they'll join forces, even for a while, into maybe that white man finds a white woman that will take him in, which is a rarity, because a lot of times these relationships with Keisha always ends and he moves on to either another Keisha or he ends up, basically him and Keisha end up having problems because these white men, they find out that not only can he screw Keisha, but he can screw maybe her family members, female family members, or even her friends. So white men actually live out their porn, ghetto gagger, sexual deviancy out with black women where they couldn't do that with white women unless they fantasize about doing it in adult movies. And a lot of times, everybody think that it's the white women be doing all the deviant sexual shit with Brad. Nope. It's Keisha that does the most. Why you think a lot of these white men will side chick Keisha? See, a lot of times, a lot of these black women, they'll do all the sexual deviant shit with Brad and take pleasure in doing it without no problem. And Brad doesn't have to pay for anything during the whole relationship with these Keishas. You know, we already know that with homeboy that played with Kansas City, he ain't had to pay shit the whole 5 years but $100. So for he ain't paid nothing but $100 since he was with her. Dude, I can't think of his name, played for Kansas City. But like I said, black women, they'll project all their hatred and say black men hate black women. But yet you got 80% of black men married to black women. Now, if we hate black women that much, why we still got a high marriage rate with black women? And those 80% of black women that married to black men, why would they marry these black men if they dusties? Obviously, those men got qualities that those black women find attractive about them brothers. Because we got to keep it real. Interracial relationships in the United States between white men and black women are actually larger. And that I'm talking about premarital relationships. This is what everybody don't understand. They'll say, well, you have more black men marry out. Yes, we marry out more than black women. However, black women have more sex out than black men, and they just don't get married. Now, people like, how you do the correlation? The correlation, because you can have 90% of men, and out there 90%, you can have what? 10% of the men married, but majority of the men not married but having sex. Now, keep in mind, this explains why you have the out of wedlock rate higher. You got more black women with children out of wedlock than black men. So it's always been this underlying narrative that black men making all these children with black women, only to find out that the number of black women outnumber black men. So if we got having all these children out of wedlock with black women, should every black man, including myself, have children? See, that math ain't mathing. Just like the 1350 deal that Charlie Kirk was talking about. The math don't math. So when you got people that lying about statistics and shit to promote their own idea of the worship of white men and the hatred of black men, which actually a lot of black men are now starting to come to terms with, that black women just don't want to be with black men like that. Those women of that ilk. I ain't gonna say all black women, but women of that ilk. And that's fine. That's fine. But see, the thing is, why they going over there with Brad hating on us, white men don't like y'all ass like that. You think them white men like y'all? Keishas, they really don't like y'all. But they have no choice but to get with you, because you know why? They can't get the desired white women that they want. So what they do, they get with Keisha. They got to have sexual access to let off frustration. What better way than to get with a nasty black chick that's willing to do everything for you sexually that you desire? But the thing is, them black women want a relationship out of that deal that you give them. And see, is where the rubber meets the tarmac. Brad don't want to give a lot of these black women that kind of relationship. A lot of these white men keep black women relationships with black women secret. But on the contrary, white women do not keep the relationships with Tyrone secret. Think about that for a minute. Becky and Tyrone relationship is never secretive. See, Becky is willing to come out and this is another thing too. They always mark down as Becky fetishizing black men. And it's actually the other way around. Black women are getting fetishized by white men. That's been going on ever since the plantation. You dig? But the reason, I'm going to tell you why black women project all their self-hatred on black men. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Black women are actually jealous of black men. Let me say that one more again. Black women are actually jealous of white men, of black men, I mean, because black men can marry out without no problem, whereas black women just get basically pumped up by Brad. Now, both marriage rates between actually are really low between black men and white women, just like it's low between white men and black women. They promote this narrative that a lot of that's going on, but really a lot of that's not going on. It's only 1% of black men actually in marriages with white women, and only not even 1% of black women in relationships, marriages with white men. But like I said, black women project all their self-hatred of us and say that we hate them, when the actuality is them hating us because they jealous of the relationship that Becky and Tyrone have. And they want that kind of chemistry with white men. But the thing is, white men are not giving them that kind of chemistry. Meanwhile, Brad sees his white woman with Tyrone. And he has a problem, and he even has a problem even when he's in a relationship with a black woman. White men still hate to see black men with attractive white women, even when they're with black women, because like we always tell y'all, they substitute black women, but they really want white women. But the thing is, every time Brad turn around, he's seeing his attractive white women with Tyrone. And to them, that's a problem. Even when they are in an interracial relationship, and black women don't get it. See, black women don't get it. When you see that, you don't see it, that white man, the way he hates to see, even when he with you Keishas, he hates to see Tyrone with his woman, his white woman, because he feel he should have ownership of not only white women, but of even black women, which he already have ownership of black women. He lost ownership of white women. See what I mean? White men lost ownership of white women and gained ownership of black women that they already had. White men have always had ownership and access to black women. That's why always, and many others, black men always said that black women, never been our women. They never been our women, because black women are products of the plantation. Now, I'm not saying all the black women, but black women they stayed on the plantation when men were trying to run and be free. Only black man that stayed on that plantation was the buck dancer, Uncle Tom sellout nigga. But like I said, man, black women could project all this shit they want and talk about how black men don't like them, and even make up these narratives that black men kill them. When you go and look up other statistics, you'll find out that black women have brothers set up, robbed, carjacked, all kind of shit, but they don't never want to talk about those statistics. But they go over the fence and project all the shit that happened to them over there to black men. So black women project, even when white men send them to the upper room, and you got all this evidence of white men sending black women to the upper room, black women still want to project that somehow that it's Tyrone killing them up. If they could, them black women would turn the guy that killed Sade Robinson black, if they could. Or the dude that put that black girl in Vallejo, California, in the wall. he plastered her up in the damn wall. But see, none of these divestors and swirlers gonna talk about the horrific death of black women at the hands of Brad and non-black men. They not gonna say that because they are not gonna tell other black women to be careful. Because if they were to do that, they'll be telling black women, them black women will question why even going over the fence if they were to tell them black women to be careful with the white men that you get out here, because these white men, a lot of them could delete you and almost get away with it. Almost. So black women that divest and swirl is not gonna tell black women to be careful. Like we tell brothers that's passport bros, man, look, be careful, brother, when you go over there, man. We tell brothers this, be careful. Hey, we support the passport movement, but we tell black men, look, man, be safe over there. Be careful, man, because you could get deleted over there if you're not careful. See, we tell black men to be safe. How many of you motherfucker divestors and swirler tell black women to be safe when they get with some of these white dudes or non-black men? Y'all don't tell them that. Because you know why? By y'all telling these black women they need to be safe. They were like, well, if I'm not safe over there, why I'm gonna go over there then? See, they're gonna question Keisha, the divestor Keisha, why I gotta be safe over here to get with white men? See, that's why they ain't gonna put that out there, because they know that a lot of black women say, you know what, that's all right, I'm good if I gotta be safe. So they gotta promote this image of Brad being the safer option than black men, and that's the way they do that, is project all the violent tendencies of white men towards black women onto black men. And voila.